Alright, so I'm going to fix this power driver board. First thing, I got to get the solder out of these. But that old solder, you're not sucking that out in any way, shape, or form. So I got to add new solder. And like I said, this likely going to have some lifting. I don't expect these landings to stay down. They are really cooked. That one don't want to take it. Alright, now I'll get some solder wick and see if I can suck this stuff up. And on something like this is where you're going to want to use some fresh water, fresh wick. Don't try and use anything up that's, been used too much. Try and stay on, if you just stay on the fresh parts of the wick. I'll try and suck it out without doing too much damage here, which is highly unlikely. Trying to do this as quickly as possible, keep as little heat on it as we can, as short a time possible. It's just not going through. It's not looking good. Yeah, that's just terrible. I'll show you what I'm dealing with here. See, I still got a lot of solder on that side. It's just not coming out. I'll try and hit this side with a little bit, and what I'm going to try and do is kind of heat it and pull it. This isn't something you'd normally do, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Okay, I got that to lift out. It's a start. If the trace stayed down at the landing. And that side lifted out. I'm going to have some cleanup to do here on aisle 3. Let's see if we can get them out. Yeah. See how this one is. Not quite as giving. There it comes. Alright, not the traditional way you'd like to do it, but got them out nonetheless. Now for some cleanup and repair work here. Alright, just gonna clean these up a little bit. Normally I'd do this with a brush, like a small brush. Yeah, something like a toothbrush. And I'm just using some alcohol for this particular situation. Some denatured alcohol. So I got that flux off, but let's see just how cooked these things are. Yeah, it just still doesn't look like it's going to take some solder, so I'm really going to take a huge risk, and I'm going to get a little metal wire brush. I'm going to try and clean these up a little bit with that. Alright, so these are little metal brushes I actually make. This one here is a little rough looking. Let's see if I can clean this up a little bit. These here look really horrible. Looks like we might lost half the landing over here. Alright. Put this over. Looks like these holes could be opened a little bit more. That one is not very open. Yeah, this one here doesn't look very open. See if I can get them to open up a little bit. Just a little bit more. So here's a little trick if you got one like this. You can use a straight pin, like it, the solder won't stick to that very well, so you can kind of open your hole up with that. That seems pretty open. Yeah, as long as the leads fit down there, we'll be golden. Alright, see where we're at. So I'm looking at this through a digital microscope. I can't quite get these cleaned up. I can't tell if this landing's still here or not. I think it is. It looks like it is. But it just will not clean up. So I hate to keep roughing this up. What is going to happen if I keep on messing with this is that landing's going to lift. So I'm going to have to add some jumper wires to this underneath. You know, regardless. Because I'm not going to have a good enough landing here to get solder on. And if I keep on messing with it, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to tear this up. So I'm just going to let that go. And I'm going to run some jumper wires underneath, so I'll double check schematics and I could pretty much see where they go, but just to double check and make sure. So we'll replace these resistors and run those jumpers. Okay, so here are the two resistors I pulled out. R296 right here and R297 right here. Now these grounds are both hooked together, actually. And I have the negative side, or the ground, going to D33 off of resistor number 296. So if I follow that back here, D31, D29, but remember I said those grounds are hooked together, so if I come off the ground of 297, it is indeed going to D33, so that's correct. So then I have the other side of R296 going to the plus side of C56, and that would be here, and right there is C56, so that's right. And then I have R297 going to the plus side of C57, and right there is C58, C57, so that's right. It's actually a little misleading. This trace actually runs right to there first and then to there, but that's fine. So that's all correct. So now we can replace those resistors and run some jumper wires to all those places I just pointed out. And be careful, because once in a while you come across a schematic that is inaccurate. So you got to trust your eyes and a meter before you would trust the schematic. But I just wanted to double check out with this and make sure everything was correct and everything looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and finish those resistors. Alright, so the resistors are now replaced. I actually bumped them up to 3 watts. They were 2 watts. Not something I'd recommend, but something I'm doing. So they're in, and the jumper wires are all run to where they go, so everything checks out, so this board is ready to go back in the machine.